Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 8, Chapter 39. Pouring ink on paper. When asked, "Who are you?" each one of you gives out the name someone gave you years ago, or which you gave yourself. You do not give the name that has been with you life after life, that has survived many deaths and births, the Atma that you really are. That name you have forgotten. It has been enveloped by three thick veils: Mal, Vikshepa, and Avarna. Mal is the dirt of vice, wickedness, and passion. Vikshepa is the veil of ignorance, which hides truth and makes falseness attractive and desirable. Avarna is the superimposition of the transient on the eternal, the individual on the universal, and the boundaries of individuality. Now, how is man to wash off or remove these three layers of dirt? By soap and water, certainly. The soap of repentance and the water of cognition will remove all taint of mal, the wavering mind that causes the frantic search for happiness from sense objects, and external appurtenances will be transformed by upasana, steady application in worship, and adoration of the source and sustenance of all. The avarna veil can be torn off by the acquisition of jnana, which reveals the atmic essence of man, the atmic unity of all creation. Mal is therefore removable by karma, vikshepa by bhakti, devotion, and avarna by jnana. That is why Indian sages have laid down these three paths for aspirants. Godly pursuit is like poison first, nectar at the end. There is no shortcut to any laudable achievement. Steady struggle alone can ensure victory. Things that are gained with little or no effort are not worth exulting over. The process of yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyana, and dharana, control of inner and outer senses, regulation of posture and breath, withdrawal into one's inner consciousness, meditation and concentration is hard, but the final stage is nirvikalpa samadhi, the condition of perfect, undisturbed equanimity, whereas the pursuit of material pleasures will be like nectar at first, but like poison at the end. The pursuit of equanimity will be like poison at first, but like nectar at the end. There was once a seeker who prayed to his elder brother to initiate him into spiritual life with the imparting of a saving mantra. But the brother said, "It is always a hard job to teach one's kinsman, and to teach a brother is harder still. You should go to Dakshinamurti, who is Shiva himself, come as a teacher." The brother inquired how to discover that preceptor. Then the brother said, "He who considers all men and all things equal. He is the preceptor I have indicated." So the young man started his search. He went among the hermitages with a gold ring on his finger. He interrogated the hermits what the metal was. Some declared it was gold, some brass, some copper. Others said it was a tin of some alloy, so he moved on. Then he came upon a young ascetic with shining eyes. He asked him whether it was gold. He said yes. He asked, "Is it not brass?" He replied, "Yes, it is brass." The ascetic said yes to whatever he was asked. he could not recognize any distinction. So, it was concluded that the ascetic was Dakshinamurti. Equanimity comes as a result of the awareness of unity, not otherwise. Embrace the Shivam in the core of your heart. Sanat Kumar was engaged in extreme austerity when God appeared before him. He asked him to place before him his needs, but Sanat Kumar said, "You are my guest now. You have come to this place where I have been residing for some time, so you may ask anything you need. I am bound to honor the guest, granting him what he needs." Having known Brahman, he had become Brahman himself, so he could talk as an equal to God. "I am you." That was the stage reached by Sanat Kumar. No wonder he spoke like that. He is ever present. I is born only after the individual separates himself from the he. So, with the birth of the Jivi, individual soul, the idea of Deva, God, must also be born in the mind. That is the sign of success. Embrace the Shivam, God, in the core of your heart. You become immortal. Embrace the Shavam, corpse, which the body is without him. You are mortal. The spiritual preceptor has to emphasize that fundamental lesson. He should be like the drill instructor among the teachers in school. The others step into the class and instruct and leave. The history master holds forth on his subject and leaves. The science master does the same. The drill instructor has himself to stand before the pupils and swing his hands right and left, so that they may do the same. He has to bend and rise as often and as fast as he wants his pupils to. The Guru has to be Brahman, so that he may lead others to a knowledge about him. He must be aware of the named one, and not merely the name. Wealth cannot give happiness that lasts. The desire to raise the standard of living is a thirst that can never be quenched. It leads to endless pursuit of sensory pleasures, multiplication of wants, and deeper involvement in worry. Riches are a deadly temptation. No whip can suppress the itch to gain money. Once, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and Narayana, her lord, had a quarrel over who was supreme in the hearts of mankind. They decided to settle it by means of an experiment. Lakshmi came down among mankind as a spiritual teacher. When people washed her feet and worshipped her, the plate and vessels used by the devotees turned into gold. So she was welcomed everywhere, and there was a terrible rash of devotees and a huge pile of brass, copper, and aluminium vessels and plates in evidence everywhere. Meanwhile, Narayana too was upon earth as an exponent of the sacred scriptures, expounding to huge gatherings the path to happiness and joy, as marked out by the sages. When people heard of Lakshmi converting metals into gold, they preferred her visits to those of Narayana and cared little for what he taught. He was actually sent out of the cities and villages when Lakshmi entered them, for his discourses distracted them from the profitable sessions of Lakshmi's puja. Do not listen to the tempting discourses of people who have no faith in God. They hold before you the prospect of sudden wealth through devious means, but they do not tell you that wealth cannot give happiness, real happiness, that lasts and satisfies. Their arguments are specious and clever, and they ridicule the traditional and the real. Each rite has a significance and meaning. There was in Venkatagiri an orthodox Brahmin who performed his rites regularly. During these rites, he has to take in small spoonfuls of consecrated water thrice, one spoonful after another, a number of times. The son who was watching him laughed and said, "Why have you to sip it so often? Swallow the water all in a gulp. That will make things easy and quick," he said. The father remained silent, but later, when the son was sweating over his homework and dipping his pen in ink once every few minutes, he laughed and said, "Why don't you pour the bottle of ink on the paper and be done with it? Why take all this bother of dipping and distributing it in droplets, line by line, thin and emaciated?" Each rite has a significance and meaning, which is best to leave to the person who believes and acts accordingly. There are only 3 ways of saving oneself: pravritti, nivritti, and prapti. Pravritti, action, external activity, is a method of sublimating the instincts and impulses. Nivritti, detachment, internal quiet, is a method of subduing the thirst of the senses and the ego. Prapti, surrender, is a method of utilizing the senses, the instincts and impulses, the intelligence, the emotions for the glorification of the all-knowing, all-directing divine. Do and dedicate, work and worship, plan and protect, but do not worry about the fruit. That is the secret of spiritual success. Prashanti Nilayam, September 30th, 1968.